Well, would you take a look at this? We found some behind-the-scenes footage from the brand new Disney Princess team-up film. No, I'm just joking, only partially. I'm sure that's probably some all-ages drag show that I'm sure was well-attended. Anyways, something that's actually good for the movie industry is Mission Impossible. And guess what? It's making a whole hell of a lot of money. It's setting box office records, franchise records, and is very easily slotting into being the best-received film of the year, at least so far. The Marvel still has to come out in November. But anyways, Mission Impossible cruises into the, get it? Because it's Tom Cruise movie. You get it? You get, it's very funny. Into the number one spot at the box office because there was stiff competition. Okay, we got one little highlight outside of Mission Impossible, which after listening to a couple of reviews, hearing a lot of people really love it, and then the people dissecting the plot are kind of like, wow, this doesn't make any sense at all. But generally speaking, people, if they turn their brains off or just want to go have a little bit of escapism, it seems like they're coming out satisfied, which is more than you can say about just about every other offering on display, at least during 2023. The Tom Cruise-led Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 was number one at the box office on Friday, raking in $16.55 million, according to Box Office Mojo. The action spy flick, which the Post lauded as the summer's best movie, but again, that's a curb-high barrier to get over, was released in select theaters on Monday, wider releases on Wednesday. Yes, so it's kind of had a weird staggered release, and like we were talking about earlier last week, hey, even with the weird launch cycle that they've had where, more theaters were open over in Europe than they were in North America. North America got a Wednesday release date. Would that end up hampering the rest of the weekend? Well, spoilers, if you have a good film and you have good word of mouth, it isn't going to matter. But if you're Indiana Jones and then you have terrible word of mouth 2 months out from your world premiere date, you're leaking, or rather premiering screener to the press, and they're going, wow, this is absolute dog shit. And guess what? It's going to reflect poorly in the box office, which, after this weekend, it's dead. It's done. It's dusted. We can go ahead and we can lay Indiana Jones down in the tomb that everybody thought that he was already in after Crystal Skull, but hey, gotta make one more paycheck, right? And gotta have one more opportunity to pass the whip in the hat to a strong, empowered female. Spoilers, that ain't gonna happen. Sound of Freedom, by the way, which was third last week, moved up to the number 2 spot, which, man, taking a look at the numbers on this stuff, it's really amazing. Okay, here's the weekend. Obviously, we don't have the numbers for Sunday in specifically. All there is averages, estimations, approximations based on similar returns, but you can learn so much by this simple graphic that's right here. The top 5 films. It's hilarious how Elemental is still just hanging on. It's literally the only cartoon, strictly her animated fare that's out there. And it's been, how long has it been in the theater? Okay, it's its 5th week in release, and it's only gonna make, this is domestic box office, right? $125 million domestically. A Disney Pixar film, holy crap. And then their 5th week of release, their 5th weekend out there, $8.7 million. And then right behind, Spooderman, which is the only superhero film, well, depending on what you want to classify Ethan Hunt as, and depending on how much damage you think he can survive. But that's super sad. And then you also see Transformers down there, which those used to be billion-dollar movies. But, oh well, that's a long time removed. But obviously, the number one position, the big headline getter, the $80 million in the 5-day release of Mission Impossible pulled in $56 million over the 3-day weekend in 4,300 theaters, which was less than Indiana Jones had with a cool 4,600. But then you take a look at what they're at right now, reduced fare, and even the average theater price, it's atrocious. It's absolutely abysmal. They lost over 700 screens, and a lion's share of those went to Sound of Freedom. And it looks like that endorsement ended up paying out extremely well for them, because outside of Mission Impossible, it has the best 3-day return at $8,269 per theater, and ending up finishing in second place over its second full weekend out and release, $27 million, $85 million domestically, easily by the end of its run. It It's going to make $100 million, which is wild, absolutely wild. And think about this. This film was apparently made 5 years ago, 2018. You know who had the rights to this? You know who had the rights to it and sat on it for a year before selling it off? Fucking Disney, man. Holy shit. Could you guys just you would think, but for the simple law of probabilities, if you continue to just stumble around, eventually you would land into some sort of a success. But no, they just, much like Sideshow Bob, just continue. Every step that they take is just another rake that's going to flip up and hit them right in the face. But yeah, what can you learn from that chart? Word of mouth will carry. That's just for the films while they're in theaters, but also the general perception around everything regarding the film. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 lights fuse with $235 million global box office. Yo, that is super impressive, man. That's easily the best performing film so far this year. I think in its opening weekend, obviously, you know, the biggest film so far in totality is Super Mario Brothers. Not too sure how their opening weekend shook out. No, that title very much goes to Super Mario Brothers. We have it pulled up here, so okay, good to check. So definitely good enough for second place, but best opening weekend for the summer movie season. Man, far ways off. $146 million. Holy. So yes, the numbers as of Sunday morning. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning lit the fuse this weekend with a $235 million global start. Of that, $155 million is from 70 international box office markets, which represent 93% of the offshore footprint. Japan is notably still to come. Yeah, I guess maybe next weekend or something like that. That's amazing. Excluding China, where there were strong headwinds from local picks and amid contracted audience interest in Hollywood movies. The overseas debut of Tom Cruise star is $129.6 million. On a like-for-like basis, including previews, and that's 15% of Mission Impossible Fallout. Oh, wow, okay. Which would make it the biggest opening for the franchise when removing the People's Republic of China. There, the launch was $25.4 million, which is 66% below Fallout, which released in what was a different time in the market. Yeah, I'm not even going to be able to pretend to know what's going on with the Chinese movie market. They're moving away from Western releases. Okay. Normally you hear that kind of cope when it comes to just shit Disney affair, but if that's just the case blanket overall, then okay, cool. That's just the way that it is. Overall, overseas, the biggest opening weekend for the Mission Impossible franchise in 35 markets, including the UK, Australia, Brazil, India, Netherlands, and Scandinavia. Domestically, Dead Reckoning set a 5-day opening record for the franchise at $80 million. As noted yesterday, given the numbers through Friday, we're seeing a full overseas debut in the $150 million range, which did come to pass with a strong uptick on Saturday. So yes, Friday, your traditional movies opening, go check it out now without this, weird elongated release schedule that they're trying out. It's typically the make or break day, and then for it to inflate so much over Saturday, it just promises good things to come. Important to recall that there are plenty of play ahead of the leg out expected on the case of Mission Impossible movies. Japan loves Cruise, and we'll get the movie in the coming week, okay? And there will be competition from Hayao Miyazaki's latest film. Oh, okay. And yes, there's also overall a Barbenheimer on deck, which is going to be very interesting. Like I said, remember, stick a little pin in the whole perception around a movie and the goodwill associated with this that will or will not give it legs. Hold on to that for a moment. Essentially, the biggest drag here is that the hope was China would perform better, but there continues to be disquieting atmosphere in the market in regards to studio movies. MI7 is still seeing pre-sales among the top 3 films for the next several days. There, it maintained the 9.4 Mayoan audience score. I'm not even going to be able to know what that means. So yes, obviously, when it comes to big releases that are going to be out there on the horizon, everybody knows the success of Top Gun Maverick was not even in its first week. It was its extended longevity. And yes, even though there's a lot of press surrounding Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, and if you don't pay attention to all of the stupid actors painting a very disparaging picture of the Barbie film that'll be coming out. That should, theoretically, knock off Elemental, as if that would be a tough task. And Oppenheimer, I guess that, I don't really know who that necessarily appeals to. Film snobs who are just going to go review it and look at it anyways. And then again, they would watch anything else that was in the film, or in the studio as well. It's 3 hours long. You'll get the pseudo-intellectuals, the 105 IQ brigade that think that they're smarter than they actually are. Who really knows at the end of the day if that's really going to make that big of a dent, if it's going to be a big blockbuster? Every sign kind of points to no. And then, like I said before, Tom Cruise just being generally likable and seeming to be fairly amiable when it comes to the audience. I don't know if they're going to be, in regards to Oppenheimer and Barbie, I don't really know if they're going to be able to get that same kind of energy associated with them, especially when you have Margot Robbie, Emily Blunt, Cynthia Nixon, and Jamie Lynn Spears. Okay, lead Hollywood stars supporting first SAG-AFTRA strike since 1980. And then also Christopher Nolan coming out with a very strong condemnation that I'm not going to be working on any more films until these strikes get resolved. That's already something, okay? Then actors and the writers' strikes that realistically your average rank and file person doesn't really care all that much about. They just already have kind of a negative perception when it comes to people that work in Hollywood for very reasonable understandings. And the quality of entertainment has been nosediving for the better part of a decade. So if you have all of the millionaires that are out there just saying we require fair and equitable pay and proper representation, it's going to fall on deaf ears, especially during this economy. Out of everybody that's in that lineup right there, like, I like Emily Blunt. She's been pretty based about some stuff, but I don't know, she's just trying to get along to go along. Let's see. Margot Robbie, Emily Blunt, Cynthia Nixon, and Jamie Lynn Spears are leading the Hollywood stars supporting the newly announced SAG-AFTRA strike. The Screen Actors Guild, or the Film Actors Guild, if you have a good sense of humor, announced early Thursday morning that negotiations with studios had ended without a deal. By Thursday afternoon, Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, announced union leadership had officially voted to work stoppage to begin after midnight, after their demands for higher wages and protections against artificial intelligence were not met. Meanwhile, these were the same people that were laughing at the coal miners that were getting put out of work because of new green initiatives and just telling them that they need to learn how to code. But now you want that same sympathy reciprocated because all of those truck drivers, all of those coal miners that ended up learning how to code are trying to put you out of business with their AI. Fucking hilarious, the lack of self-awareness these idiots have. Margot Robbie told Sky News at the London Barbie premiere on Wednesday that as a member of SAG-AFTRA, she would absolutely stand by a strike. What a blithering idiot. But that's what you get. She's a stooge. She's one of the few recognizable names in Hollywood who's 33 years old, who can still play the heartthrob in most films, even though I don't really think that she's all that. That's just my subjective opinion. Obviously, she's attractive. Yes, I'd fuck the shit out of her, but at the same time, I've seen hotter everywhere for everybody who was trying to defend her when the screenshot of her, makeupless face was going around. How could you say that she's mid? Yeah, congratulations. It was a covert Barbie advertising strategy that you fucking fell for, you idiots. But yeah, man, she doesn't want to rock the boat because she still has, arguably, depending on how much she wants to go under the knife, and 5, 7, 10 years left in that role before some younger, hotter, tighter young ting pops around, like the same way that she replaced Scarlett Johansson back in the cut. So she knows how this goes. She's just trying to make the most of her situation. Emily Blunt, 40, who was promoting her new film Oppenheimer, said she would walk off the red carpet to show her support for the strike. Somebody, again, who has to cling on because her time horizon isn't quite as long. And yeah, if she stays in the exact same group as everybody else who's down there, which, holy shit, man. Like, I'm going to be cutting another video, which I guess is going to be a spoiler for another video that's coming out later here today. I got to bring up Zendaya for whatever reason. If you don't know who Zendaya is, she's simultaneously the most overrated and underappreciated actress that's out there. I don't know anything about her skill, but everybody wants to lambaste her for her looks. Yeah, she's fine. It's kind of like the Margot Robbie situation, okay? When she's done up really well, looks extremely hot, and when she's not, well, she looks average. I don't get Florence Pugh, though. She looks like a young Rosie O'Donnell rolled in with Sinead O'Connor. Like, it doesn't make sense at all for me. It doesn't work on any level. And she's an overt feminist, so you know what? Hey, man. Good for you. Good for you. The Oppenheimer cast later walked out of the UK premiere in solidarity with the actors on strike Wednesday night. Yes, which I'm sure so many everyday average people would have seen. You're at the UK premiere on the red carpet, and then you guys walked out in solidarity with your comrades, you fucking dorks. Like Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, and Rami Malek walked the red carpet in the Odeon in Leicester Square earlier in the night. But the group left the event prematurely to go and write their picket signs. I'm sure all of them were out there. Who the fuck cares? In preparation for the imminent strike of the Actors Union. Director Christopher Nolan told Cinema's audience, "You've seen them here earlier on the red carpet." But yeah, you have all of these self-righteous hags torpedoing the appeals of their films ahead of their wider release, all because they don't want to express their individuality, but then at the same time they'll also be one of the loudest voices on social media telling you that you're special the way that you are and that you need to go express your individuality. You fucking hacks. So while everybody else is walking out of premieres and walking off of red carpets, you have Tom Cruise turning up to theaters unannounced to just say, "Hey, thanks for turning up to my film. Hopefully you guys enjoy it." Just completely unannounced. The mega movie star popped into a screening at AMC 24, the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, at the Miami South Mall Tuesday night, shocking fans who apparently had no idea he was showing up. Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie, he's the director, right? Yeah, made a surprise theater appearance to celebrate Mission Impossible on, yes, July 11th, 2023, South Florida. Wow, this is a big screen. I love it. There he is, just right up there at the front. You can feel free to watch the film, or you can watch the video if you want to. This is what it's made for. It's made for you to watch. This movie. It's beautiful. Cruise then introduced longtime collaborator, writer-director Christopher McQuarrie, who also wrote the script for last year's blockbuster Top Gun Maverick. He tried to kill me several times, joked Cruise, and he's well known for doing his own stunts. But I've lived so far, so it's pretty good. Plans for the future. I just want to thank you all very much for coming. We really do dream about these moments of sharing the film with you, so this is really very special. We wanted to take the time just to see you all. We think about you all while we're making this movie, and it's really beautiful. Enjoy the film. Showing up unannounced, and then after the screening, just waiting and shaking people's hands, and just wishing them the best experience possible because they had a blast shooting it, and they hope that you have a blast enjoying the film. None of this pretentious shit about the actor strike and the writer strike. Just no, I enjoy my job. I want to share it with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed as much as we had creating it. It's really no surprise why Tom Cruise has so much goodwill. You would think Hollywood would have learned something from this, but instead, take a look at what Disney did with Indiana Jones, just trying to prop it up a little bit. "Hey, Harrison, can you go ahead and read the script?" "No, I don't want to." "Want another $1 million?" "Yeah, okay, I'll read the script." Learning all the wrong lessons because they're just not authentic about it. Oh well, they're signing their own death warrant. Again, nobody cares about the strike. The only people that care about the strike are the people that hate you, don't share their values, and then they detest you if you want to express your own values. So personally, go ahead and let it burn. I do not care, but support the people who support you. And if you want to go check out a film, I hear, like I said, off rip, decent things about the film. Mixed reviews at worst, but praise at best. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.